They pushed that down in front of the whole market people. The insults came like stones. Stupid woman. Adams is married to an oboe woman in London. He has forgotten you exist. He will never come back and marry you. He is gone and gone forever. Village girl. They threw dirty water at her in the square and called her a mad woman. A nobody. She wiped her face and said nothing. This is where the story begins, but it is not where it ends. 10 years earlier, before that Sunday morning, before the humiliation peaked, Mina lived at the edge of her father's compound in a small mud house she refused to leave. She woke before the sun to fetch water, because if she arrived late, other women poured it out just to watch her start over. In that village, a woman's value was tied to the man beside her, and the man beside Mina had vanished. Adam Zobi was the pride of Umoise. Brilliant, hard-working, loved by everyone, and he loved Mina quietly and deeply. They were set to marry. 3 days before the wedding, Adams disappeared. No letter, no goodbye. The story that spread was brutal. Mama Kem and her circle told anyone who would listen that Adams had run because Mina was beneath him. For 10 years, the market laughed. The church benches beside her stayed empty. Sundays under the mango tree, she stood at the edge holding her small plate, alone while the laughter of belonging floated past her like smoke. Why did Mina stay? She had a distant uncle far away. She could have left and started over where nobody knew her name. But she stayed. She said, "This is my father's house. I am not the one who should leave." People called it stubbornness, pride, foolishness. It was none of those things. In a tin box under her bed, Mina kept 5 letters written in Adams's handwriting. The last one arrived just 3 months ago. On the worst days, she touched those letters gently and whispered the same word. Soon. Mama Kem was not just cruel, she was organized cruel. Monday mornings, she stood at the market entrance and announced, "Make way for the abandoned woman." Wednesday evenings at the church women's meeting, Mina sat alone because one whisper here and one look there kept every bench beside her empty. Sundays were for belonging, except not for Mina. Then a black car rolled into Umoise on a Tuesday morning. Shoes too clean for village roads, a shirt with no sweat stains despite the heat, a slim brown envelope tucked under the arm of a man who did not belong to this place. He asked for Mina's house. By the time he reached her door, half the village had gathered. Mina opened before he could knock, calm, not surprised. He was from Adams, she said, and she was right. His name was Felix. He worked for a firm in Lagos. He placed the envelope on the table and told her 3 things. He did not explain everything because Adams had instructed him not to, but what he shared was enough for Mina to breathe like someone finally setting down a heavy load. At the door, Felix added one more detail. He had made a wrong turn and stopped outside Mama Kem's compound by mistake. She recognized the car. That night, the village did not sleep. Rumors multiplied. Adams was coming back rich. He was coming back with a foreign wife. He was coming back for revenge. Nobody knew the truth. 3 people stayed awake for a different reason. Mama Kem, her son Chidi, and Papa Roland, the oldest elder who had stood in the square 10 years ago and declared that Adams ran away in shame. They slipped into Papa Roland's house through the back, one after the other. They were seen. Wednesday in the market, Mina set her tomatoes as usual. Mama Kem arrived as usual and opened her mouth to begin the routine. Mina's voice cut through the air. 10 years, she said, and I think we are near the end now. Rest. Save your energy. You will need it soon. Something shifted. Everyone felt it the way you feel a storm before it breaks. Here is the truth only 4 people knew. Adams's father had registered 12 plots of land at the edge of Umoise, land that was worth little when he was alive, but later a construction company from Abuja began buying in that area. Suddenly those plots were worth millions. Papa Roland learned this first from a cousin in the land's registry. He told Mama Kem, and she told Chidi, the same Chidi Mina had refused years before. They forged a document, backdated, claiming Adams's father sold 8 of the 12 plots to Papa Roland, a fake signature, a bribed witness. They needed Adams out of the way before he could challenge it. 3 days before the wedding, Chidi brought the forged document to Adams. He said the land already belonged to Papa Roland. He warned that if Adams stayed and fought it, they would destroy Mina and ruin her name until life in Umoise became unbearable. Adams was 25, in love and afraid. He left to protect her. He told himself he would go to the city, find a lawyer, build a case, and return with proof. He did not know it would take 10 years. He studied law part-time for 4 years. He found an honest lawyer named Felix Sr. He gathered evidence quietly and wrote letters to Mina because she needed to know he had not abandoned her. Sunday came slow and golden. By 7:30, a convoy of 3 black cars moved through the gate with quiet authority. Adams stepped out. 10 years had changed him. The boy who left was lean and uncertain. The man who returned was steady. Felix followed, then 2 men carrying boxes, and a government official from the land's registry in uniform. Adams did not greet the crowd. He walked to Mina's door. She opened it, wrapped in deep green with gold edges, head held high. He offered his arm. She took it, and together they walked to the square. Papa Roland stood there. Mama Kem stood there with Chidi slightly behind, like he wanted to use her as a shield. Adams spoke clearly. 10 years ago, a forged document and a threat sent him away to protect Mina while he built a case. Felix opened the first box. The official stepped forward. For 40 minutes, the truth lay in the open air of Umoise. Document by document, signature by signature, the bribed witness who had since signed a confession, the real land record showing no sale, the construction company payments Papa Roland collected for land that was never his, every lie laid bare. Halfway through, Mama Kem sat on the ground. Nobody helped her up. Chidi tried to speak once. Adams looked at him. Silence followed. Papa Roland wept old, desperate tears, and the village watched without comfort. When it ended, the square stood in silence until old Papa John removed his cap and said, "We were blind, we were fools, and this woman paid for our blindness." Legal consequences came later. Land restored, a court case filed, 3 names reported to the authorities, but what stayed was the moment Adams turned to Mina in front of everyone and said, "I am sorry it took so long." Mina answered with the only thing that ever mattered. "You came back. That was always enough." 6 weeks later, they married under the same mango tree where she had once been refused a seat. The whole village came, some out of joy, some out of shame, most out of both. Mina wore gold, and Umoise learned what patient people already know. Truth does not die. It waits. Silence is not weakness. Sometimes it is the sharpest weapon a person owns. What you take by deceit, you return with interest. So ask yourself, when you know the truth, how long would you wait to let it rise?